Democrat and Republican lawmakers in Congress have agreed on a $1.59 trillion spending deal. Later today, they'll start negotiations over how much various agencies get to spend in the fiscal year moving forward. Since last year, the House and Senate have struggled to agree on 12 annual bills to fund the government for fiscal year that began on October 1st of last year. The various agencies, including Agriculture and Transportation, Department of Homeland Security, and Health and Human Services. The lawmakers face a 19th of January deadline for the first set of bills and a February 2nd deadline to move the remaining ones through Congress. According to Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, $886 billion is set for defense spending, and $704 billion is for non-defense spending. However, there's a rift over the non-defense spending. Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that the non-defense spending figure will be $772 billion. The non-defense funding is expected to safeguard key domestic priorities like veterans benefits, health care, and nutrition assistance. If both Congress fails to pass the 12 bills required to fund the government, the money will expire on January 19th for federal programs like transportation, housing, agriculture, and energy. Funding for other government areas like defense will continue until February 2nd. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by our correspondent, William Denslow. He's joining us live from New York City. Will, great to see you. Focusing on the basics, do you think that Congress may be headed towards a shutdown, or will these bills be signed in time?
Well, Susan, this has certainly been heralded as an important first step. We've heard from US President Joe Biden. He said that this move this agreement so far, at least between the senior members of both parties, would prevent, as he says it, a needless government shutdown. It would help protect national interests going forward as well. But of course, as you rightly mentioned, there are plenty of hurdles before it comes to these 12 bills actually being passed and any threat of a government shutdown being put in the rear view mirror. Now, both leaders on both sides of the political aisle are claiming some victories. Mike Johnson, the Republican House Speaker, says that what this spending agreement does is that it cuts around $10 billion in IRS funding. It cuts about $6 billion from what some Republicans are describing a lasting COVID-19 slush fund. So that'll certainly be seen as a win that he'll be hoping to portray to his camp on the Republican side of the aisle. As far as Democrats are concerned, well, as you mentioned, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader and a Democrat, says that this will protect key domestic priorities like veteran benefits, healthcare and nutrition. So both sides hoping to take those wins to their respective parties. However, this spending bill has been seen somewhat as a poisoned chalice. Of course, we saw that any attempt to pass this bill a year ago by former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy ultimately led to him losing his job, where he was forced to essentially lean across the political aisle to try and gain support from Democrats because there were so many holdouts from his own party, especially the House Freedom Caucus, the more right-wing group on the Republican Party. They've already spoken out extremely adversarially against this spending proposal by Mike Johnson, saying that it is a total failure. What they want to see is they want to see far more done to slash government spending. They also want to see securities and guarantees when it comes to protections on the southern border before going any further with this bill. So plenty of hurdles that still need to be cleared for these 12 bills to ultimately be passed ahead of those deadlines that are rapidly approaching. Susan?
Yeah, that's very true. And I suspect that no party wants to be responsible for a government shutdown ever, but especially not during an election year. We'll be watching very closely, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thanks.